Business models for open education, 3 takeaways from the D-Transform project. We have to start with what a business model means, and we have to adapt that definition, which comes from business, to the role of institutions, some of which are public sector institutions and some of which are private. So it's basically a means of capturing value. It has to link the sales, a commercial word, but universities produce material which students consume, to what are called the factors of production, which is not a title that academic professors would like to be called, but is the business term. And business models basically are a key part of an institution's strategy, so they can't be ignored. Basically, it's about money, and even in the public sector, as we know in Europe, money is very important, and the lack of money is more important. Courses cost money, and the money has to come from somewhere, and I detect in many countries a reluctance to actually engage with this issue. And this is not to do with the recent budget cuts and recessions, but is a tradition in the public sector, where the private sector actors, which some people like and some people don't like, are much more realistic about money. And simply, money has to come from 3 or 4 main sources. In some countries in Europe, the money comes from the students. The students pay fees, and very often international students pay very high fees. The money may come from the government, and that depends. Some universities just get an annual grant, and they're told to teach as many students as they can. Not a model I favour, because it tends to produce rather poor courses. Many other countries have a model where each student carries a little package of money from the government, and so if the university gets more students and it gets more money, that's quite an attractive model for universities. And then these are the main models. There are some other models which people talk a lot about, researchers, but really are quite marginal. People talk about getting money from foundations, forgetting that most of these foundations are US foundations, and most of their money goes to US projects with a little bit of overspill to Europe. And then one may get money by some commercial tricks, such as selling student data to third parties or to employers or something, but this is fraught with difficulty, especially in Europe, because of the issues of data protection, and in my view quite rightly. So not a model I favour, and it doesn't seem to be particularly successful. So at the end of the day, money from the students or on behalf of the students is the key driver for producing courses, be they open education courses or closed courses. The problem in Europe is every country is different, and as we discovered recently, every region of every country is different. When Wallonia decided to hold up a big treaty because they felt different from Flanders and different from other countries. And in the UK especially, we have 4 different countries with very different models. So I chose the topic of Ireland because Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, has an interesting model which is partly British and partly continental. It's a kind of hybrid model. So students do pay fees, but the government by and large pays the fees for them if they're students from the EU. International students pay quite high fees, and again, surprisingly to some, part-time students pay fees, but the government pays no attention to that. So basically, they pay quite low fees, and the government doesn't give the university any money. So part-time students are not, in that sense, particularly attractive to Irish institutions. And until you understand that, you can't really understand why certain business models work and certain models don't work. So, for example, there isn't much distance learning in Ireland. And again, because Europe is one continent and we're all in the EU at the moment, a lot of countries suffer what are called edge effects. So the British Open University has quite a lot of students in Ireland, so much of the demand in Ireland is soaked up by an entity outside Ireland. And we have similar situations in Germany and Austria and in Wallonia and France. So quite a lot of overlaps, which mean you can't just restrict the business model to one country. So all of this makes it one complicated, and I'm talking about one small country in 28 member states, and some of the member states are considerably different in terms of the different regions.